Hello and welcome back to Dream Girl. I'm Sheen, your host, and today I am joined by Rima Dardenne, who is the founder and CEO of the UAE's #1 luxury brand and Christmas pop-up. Right? So hello, Rima. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thanks for having me.
I mean, I'm really excited to talk to you because I actually saw the Christmas pop-up last year. And I never thought about what goes behind the scenes. So now I'm really excited to learn from you.
Great.
So Rima, tell me a little bit more about you.
I've been in the UAE for about 20 years.
Wow.
Raised my kids here. Started my actual business here in 2003. And that's basically it. And I really like living here. So my husband as well is in the hotel business. Mm-hmm. So kids are grown up and they're both living in America. So that's basically my story.
Wow. So what was the inspiration behind starting the business?
First of all, I lived in Asia for about 14 years. And my husband was the general manager of a hotel. And he had come down one day and said, "Oh my God, you cannot believe this. You've got to come down and help me somehow." And I said, "With what?" He said, "The Christmas tree. It's coming out, it's going out of the ceiling." So I said, "What do you mean it's coming?" I said, "What do you mean?" So he says, come down and look." And I went down to look, and the tree, he'd order a tree that was like 20 feet too big.
Oh my goodness.
It was literally like one of those Christmas movies where the tree was going out of the, through the sky. And so he just said, "Can you help me?" And I said, "Well, okay." Mm-hmm. So this is when I'd had my first child, right? And we were having our second. And I said, "Okay." I didn't even know I was creative at that time. So I basically helped him put together the Christmas decorations for the hotel that year. And that's how my business started, basically.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And then I discovered that I was creative.
That's how you discovered.
Yeah, really, because during my time while we were going to school, I was never really great at school or during mathematics or science. But at that time, they didn't really push us towards the creative route, and if they did, it was like art classes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's still the same, isn't it?
I don't know. I think it's a little bit different because people are a little bit more. They explore things more. They see if somebody's not good at something, and they push them down the right.
In school?
I think so. I think it's a bit better. You don't think so?
I don't think so. I mean, I just left school pretty much. But I feel like even me, I only knew the formal education stuff in school, which is why I did science. And I did like a terminal degree. But at the end of it, now what do I do? I do content creation because I realize I'm a creative person.
Right. So, yeah. So same thing with me then, I guess.
Yeah.
It's like, but I imagine it took me up until I was like 32 to realize this. So when I married my husband, obviously he was in the hotel industry. So we were traveling. So we met in Kuwait, then he flew to Africa, West Africa. We lived in West Africa, didn't have any children. Then we flew to Germany, and then we went to Asia for 14 years.
Oh, wow.
And in that time, I really didn't do much except for, of course, in Africa, I met the head of the Peace Corps. Are you familiar with the Peace Corps?
Of course.
And I became the assistant to the Peace Corps,
oh, wow.
the director of Peace Corps. And it was pretty interesting. So what I did is I invited all the Peace Corps volunteers to our apartment at night when they came in from the field. They came in and I invited them all to party with us, to party with me. And then my husband would come home and so I always kept busy somehow, some way. And I helped her with organizational skills and secretarial things, which I wasn't that good at, but she, the embassy was that small. So there was the Peace Corps and then there was the embassy. So it was really fun.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Where are you originally from, Rima?
I'm half Lebanese, half Syrian.
Okay.
My parents were both academics, taught university, and then I went to the U.S. We all went to the U.S. in the 1960s.
So you've lived in so many countries.
So many countries.
Oh my goodness. What's your favorite so far?
Well, I have to say that everything has something special about it. But I lived in Asia for 14 years, and I got to experience places like Jakarta, Manila. We lived in Bali, in Indonesia. I love Indonesia, Singapore. Traveled a lot to Hong Kong because I did some work in Hong Kong. I really liked Asia at that time because I had young children and it was new and very different. But then in 2003, we ended up moving here. And Mark and I kind of decided that we kind of liked being here because we were, we had kids and we wanted our kids to stay in the same school until they graduated from high school.
Right.
So I would say every place has its, beauty. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But how was it hard to adapt every time you were moving?
I give everybody advice when they move. You need at least 6 months to a year to adapt. And it's because you have to start all over. But when you have children, it's so much easier because you move to these places and you have people have children and you have children, you get together. And I was the head of the party committee, right? In Bali, I was the head of like the play groups, the parties,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Okay. So how is it now back in the Middle East? You've been here for 20 years, you said. So you have seen Dubai evolve.
I arrived and there was nothing. There was literally, we lived in Asia for 14 years and I got here and of course the first thing you do when you get here is you go look for a house.
Yeah.
And the real estate agent took me to see the houses and I was like, oh my God, every house had like, they didn't have houses like they do today. The houses were in Jumeirah and you'd go into the bathroom and they'd have like these tiles with like whales or they were pink tiles or really, and I just come from Bali, right? In Bali, everything was so pristine and beautiful and we lived there in the 80s. It was just gorgeous. So what I did, I was one of the first people that lived in the Emirates Hills area. It's before the Springs, Meadows, even before Emirates Hills. They had the lakes.
Right.
And I was living in the 4th Dima, and people were like, why are you living all the way out there? I said, because when I drove through those gates.
You loved it.
And I saw those pelicans or whatever, those metal pelicans. There used to be these gates at the very entrance. I don't know. Yeah, at the very, very entrance. And you came into this area, and I saw trees. And when you were in Jumeirah, there were no trees. It was just, you looked out the window, and there was a big pile of sand.
It was just yellow. Yeah. Oh, wow. So over the time, what changes did you notice with Dubai? Because even me having been here for 2 years, the number of new buildings that just came out of nowhere around where I live, and now the traffic, it's just because so many people are here.
This kind of reminds me of 2008 when the traffic, I mean, I've been through ups and downs here, where the economy was booming and things were like people everywhere and traffic, the same thing. I think the most things that changed is there was just more development, more areas, more people, more restaurants. When I first came here, we could hardly find a good restaurant to eat at. You had to go to a hotel. And I remember my girlfriend and I were so excited because they just had opened up the Shangri-La and they had a Chinese restaurant.
Right.
And we loved Chinese food because we both lived in Asia for so many years.
Oh, wow.
I mean, so the changes, bigger and better things and, more hotels, more beach clubs. There's just more things to do. I like it, but some people are like, "Oh, I like the old Dubai." I like progress. I like new things.
And do you feel like Dubai is forever home?
I've been here for a good part of my life. That I do feel like it's home for me.
It is.
Yeah, and I like it.
Okay.
If I didn't like somewhere, I wouldn't want to stay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure, everyone says, "Oh, Dubai this, Dubai that," but it's like everywhere. I've lived so many places, and for me, it's a perfect place because it's in the middle. I travel a lot to Asia because of my business, and it's easy. You get to the airport, you're in and out quickly.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the airport in Dubai, the experience is just so incredible. Whether you're a resident or a tourist,
it's so much better than many places. Oh my
goodness! I went to London recently, and I've spent so much time in the UK. I'm used to the airport there, but I spent 2 hours at the immigration line, and then I waited 1 hour for a taxi outside.
Same. Like I just went to Boston, and I get to Boston, and there is a line, like huge, like you can't even believe it. And I'm thinking to myself, oh my God, it's crazy because you take it for granted. And the other thing is everything's so clean, right? You go to the restroom, you can actually go to the restroom and not feel.
Any public restroom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in America, you go to the public restroom and you're like, oh my God,
I know. Yeah, definitely. I think these are definitely the two things that really stuck out to me here.
And it's safe.
Yeah.
Which for me is one of the most important things. I don't want to have to live somewhere where I'm always looking over my shoulder. And that is getting to be difficult in a lot of places.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. The safety here is incredible. Like you can go to the beach at night and
you can walk as a woman. If you're a single woman, you don't feel as like in some places, it's really not safe.
No, you can't. Like many places you can't walk at night.
Yeah.
But here it still feels very, very safe.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it's incredible the things that they've managed to do. But
Yeah.
it's just,
Done a great job.
they just need to fix the traffic.
I was thinking maybe they should build an overpass across full Sheikh Zayed Road.
A second Sheikh Zayed Road on top.
I mean, that's the only way. How else are they going to?
Yeah, I don't know how, because they can't expand it.
No.
There's stuff on both sides.
But, you just have to know, like, okay, I'm going to travel at this time. I'm going to go at this time. I'm not going to, I go downtown, dinner reservations are at 9 instead of like 8, because you're spending an hour in the car to get there.
Yeah, I agreed.
Yeah.
But take me back to when you decided to start your business here. How was the process then?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to come here. I thought I was going to be just like I was in Singapore, right? Singapore, I had a sole proprietor business license. So it was my own business, and it wasn't an LLC, it's sole proprietorship. So it was easy. I worked legally, did everything out of my house. So I thought I was going to do the same thing here. No. There was no such thing. Things have come from, if you're asking about change, those sort of things have changed dramatically. So now if you wanted to get a sole proprietorship business, or if you wanted to get a business where you worked out of your house, you can.
Yeah.
But then you couldn't. So you had to, first of all, get a sponsor. And your sponsor, you had to pay him, obviously. And then you had to put 300,000 dirhams in the bank.
Oh, wow.
So that they visually could see that you had a bank account.
With money in it.
With money in it. And then there was only one economics department, which was in Dara. And you would go there, and basically it was a little bit complicated. It wasn't that easy. It's so much easier now.
So how did you do it?
Back and forth to Dara over and over again, and eventually you just finally do it, right?
You found a way to do it.
Yeah. I had one sponsor, and then I had another one, and then I finally got another sponsor that I just liked forever, right?
And at that time, was it the Christmas decoration business that you
Actually,
started?
I had a shop.
Right.
I started it in Jumeirah Beach Road. We had a shop, and that's when I started. I had like non-seasonal accessories, and people loved it. And it was called Irony Home because a friend of mine who lived in the Philippines had said to me, "Bring my iron furniture to Dubai." And I said, "Please, Stephen, the iron furniture in Dubai doesn't work as well as in Asia because everybody's gates are made out of iron here. So they don't, they don't love it as much." But by then I'd already, called it Irony Home, and we, then I started bringing my own accessories and bringing stuff that people liked. And then we also introduced Christmas during the season. And the shop was about 80 square meters at that time. And that's where everyone was. The American school was up near, I think it was Jumeirah 1. So everyone lived around there as well, right? And that's basically how I started my business. And we did Christmas back then as well. But as the years have gone by, Christmas gets better and better and better.
Yeah. So how was that in a Muslim country? You decided to introduce a Christmas special.
People are so. In Dubai, you can just do just about anything, in terms as long as you stay within the rules, like anywhere, and it's very flexible. I never had an issue. I'd already put in my trade license that I was going to do Christmas, right? And then, they're very liberal, and from that sense, which I really appreciate because, they're not even that liberal in the U.S. For example, like I did a lot of work in Los Angeles, and I always had to make sure I included every religion while we were doing the Christmas setup because some people weren't really happy about the Christmas trees, right? So I think they're just very flexible here, and it's a Muslim country, and I don't use anything religious. Okay, I never do anything religious. Like I never do a big, nativity scene, or I keep it very generic and very, very festive, happy, joyful.
And how did that lead to the idea of the pop-up store? Tell us more about the pop-up store, actually.
After being in the shop on the beach road, I thought, since I'm doing well here, let me go to Dubai Mall. So let me get a shop at Dubai Mall. It's just before they opened, right? So I ended up leasing a shop at Dubai Mall, moving from the small shop for whatever reason. And I got to Dubai Mall, and it was a beautiful shop, and people really, really liked it a lot. But it was very expensive rent, right?
I'm sure.
And back then it wasn't as bad as it is now. But I was there for 8 years. And what we did every Christmas when I was in that shop is we transformed that store into a Christmas grotto. And it was 2,000 square feet, 250 square feet. No, 250 square meters, sorry, excuse me. And we didn't fill in the ceilings, so the ceilings were really high. So I was able to create something very nice. And that's how it all started. And I was there for 8 years. And then I decided that the rent was just too high. So I was working all this during the high season. And, it's hard to compete with, I wasn't really a furniture person. So it was, and that's not what I really wanted to do. I really loved Christmas and I really wanted to expand my Christmas business. So I said, let's go out of the mall and I'll see how we can still do Christmas. And that's how the pop-up. I started off doing a pop-up at Mall of the Emirates in Harvey Nichols. And obviously when you're in a shop, it's not as good as having your own shop because I could create the atmosphere and dictate what goes on. So we did that for a couple of years. Then after that, I met some people at Mall of the Emirates and, it was right before COVID and they had a lot of empty spaces. So it's always based on what's available at that time, right? So it's hard to really plan. But the problem is as well, I have to purchase everything in February and January of the new year. So that's where the little problems arise. But I have had a pop-up for the last 3 years with Mall of the Emirates. And this year we're doing it as well, but we're going to be in that concept store because in the mall, they couldn't find a space for us. Right. And that concept store found a really great space for us. So that's where we're going to be. And there's some beautiful things coming.
Ooh. Anything you can tell us?
Oh, yes. We do. We have our beautiful candy tree, but this year I did it in all pastels. And it's really gorgeous. We still have our red and white candy tree. I did a rustic tree.
Oh, wow.
And then we also have another kind of whimsical legs and feet and hands. And then we have our traditional gorgeous, we're going to do a 14-foot traditional tree in the middle of the store.
Oh, wow.
But beautiful, we have beautiful ornaments. And also we have our classic white and our classic golds. We have a lot of nice stuff this year. You have to come. You have to tell all your friends.
Of course. Will there be Santa there as well?
Yes. We're going to do 4 sessions of Santa. And also we're going to do a floral, like a wreath decorating class for people that are interested in that. And I'll teach a Christmas tree decorating class as well.
Oh, nice.
It's just simple techniques that you can use to decorate your tree to make your tree look better. Simple stuff.
Oh, well, that's really cool. And is there somewhere where people can see when all the classes
It'll all be online.
Okay.
And in Instagram, we'll have it on Instagram. But now we're just busy putting the shop together. So
amazing. I'll put all the links in the description box anyway.
Yeah.
So people can check it out. But that's amazing. And I remember last year when I went, how you actually feel like it's Christmas already when you're there.
It is. I mean, that's the main reason I do Christmas, because people are always happy at Christmas. And especially people that like to decorate are fanatics. And they will come to and back and forth to the store over and over again. I see the same people like 10 times. I don't have enough. I do have enough. I don't,
Now they found something missing.
They found something missing. And I always say to everybody, just, use your old stuff and add to it.
Yes. And if you were to think back to your childhood, what was Christmas like for you?
Well, my mother was Christian. My dad was Muslim. So we had a very interesting family because we celebrated everything. I remember every year my mom would pull out the ornaments. We had these beautiful glass ornaments that were sprayed with snow. And as the years went by, the snow got less and less and less. But I just remember having a really beautiful Christmas tree, and just Christmas was a happy time and joyful time. And I just love it.
Yeah, same. I think, and also it's wonderful how Christmas has transcended cultures and religion now. And I feel like it's just a festive season for everybody.
It's about joy.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what religion you are. Everyone likes it because it's about happiness and joyfulness. And it's around the time that kind of everybody has a holiday of some sort. We've got New Year's coming up, and then we've got Christmas, we've got Hanukkah, we've got, Diwali. I don't know when Diwali is this year, but I don't know. Like it's just about being festive,
And, actually, I think it was in Bruges I went to, and they had a all year round Christmas shop. And I remember it was so incredible, and it was packed with people, and it was like middle of March or something.
People always ask me, why don't you open a full year Christmas store? I can't, because I do other things really well, like design and decorating and, lifestyle products and accessories. And I know how to create a beautiful environment, whether it be Christmas or home, so, and I just feel like in a Muslim country, I just feel like all your Christmas store wouldn't work.
Yeah. No, agreed.
I think Bruges is different because the weather is conducive. It's still kind of...
The vibe is still...
Yeah.
But, okay. So now, obviously you are a self-made businesswoman. What advice do you have to young women who are trying to start businesses? Like, what are the things that if you look back now, you wish somebody told you? Before we carry on, just a quick word from our sponsor. This episode has been kindly sponsored by Irony Home, UAE's #1 festive decoration and luxury home decor brand. The CEO, Rima, who was also a guest on the podcast, has spent years curating the perfect assortment of products that will help you create a luxury lived-in look and feel in your space. Rima believes that every item is an opportunity to bring a little bit of luxury into your home. Irony Home helps transform your living space, creating the perfect balance between stylish sophistication and function. The seasonal pop-up store, located in Mall of the Emirates, inside that concept store on the second floor, next to Assouline Books, is a magical wonderland they create every year so that the customers can experience Christmas in a new light. It is a truly magical experience, so if you are around, I strongly suggest to check it out. Relevant links and information will be in the description box below. Thank you, Irony Home.
Well, I think, when I look back, I think it's important to understand the financial aspects of a business. That's really important. And then also, if you're going to do something, do it while you're still young enough to, before you have kids, right? Because it's in America especially, it's harder because you have kids and family. It's not like Dubai where you can get help. There's no help.
Yeah.
I think it's important to understand finances and you understand your product and have a vision. I don't necessarily think, doing a business plan is going to help as much as really understanding your own product and your vision.
And what was your biggest challenge along the way?
My biggest challenge along the way was, I guess, we self-finance this whole business. So it's not easy, because my items or my product, I'm always having to purchase. My money's always stuck in product, right? So I think that's was the most difficult, right? But you overcome that, What else? I would say, when you're a small business as well, it's hard when you find staff to keep staff because they're always, we're not as glamorous as maybe working for a big corporation, right? But the people that have stuck by me through thick and thin.
And what's your assessment process when you're hiring? What are you looking for?
Somebody who loves Christmas.
Yeah, that's true.
And somebody who loves what somebody who likes our product and understands our product, and understands what we do, and loves what we do. And somebody who comes to me and has already looked at our website and said, oh my God, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not new to the whole concept.
No. And yeah.
Okay. And so you also mentioned that you also do design and home design and stuff. Tell us
I've done a
more
lot
about
of
that.
residential decoration. Residential. So it's easy for me to go into somebody's home and just transform it.
How come?
Because I can visually see it in my head.
You're a 3D visualization person.
That is I'm terrible at everything else, but I can visually see everything. I know what looks good together. I know scale. And I think that's really important. And I know I always start with a clean canvas and bring in the accessories and the artwork. I don't like a lot of busyness. I mean, you saw some of the stuff that we've done on the website, right? So you can see that it has a very warm and comfortable feeling.
Yeah, it gives the sense of space and light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of the home pictures I've posted on the website is one thing, but I've done a lot of things that I've never taken pictures of, right? And it's I seem to create that warmth, which for me, you can go to school 20 years, but you can never ever be able to create that warmth. Is something that's built in, you know.
But how did you fall into this?
But same like Christmas. Somebody said, "Can you help me do this?" And I started doing it, and that's what I mean. I didn't realize I was creative.
Right.
So, and then when I finished what I was doing, it turned out gorgeous.
So do you do full homes?
Yeah, I've done full homes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else do you do? So you do
I do full homes. We do, I mostly do homes. I've done offices. I had a girl that I worked with here for many years, 10 years. She has an office. She does social media. And I did her offices 3 times. So, I prefer doing homes. And I prefer doing homes for people that love what I love. I know it sounds crazy that people want to do their own home, yes, but people have to like your style in order to employ you as well.
And I guess you also need to understand them and
Absolutely
how they want their space.
They
to
need
be.
to understand them and how. But a lot of times people say to me, "I want the space just like I like what you like." It's true.
Really?
Yeah. Well, obviously they have different, like maybe 5 kids versus 3 kids versus.
Right. And now, with technology, a lot of this space is also evolving. So we were designing our office and we had hired an architect and like a designer to do it. And then they showed us how it would look like using the virtual reality glasses where you can just walk through. It was incredible. It was a mad experience.
I've never done that.
Oh, you've never done it?
I should do it.
Because now when they take pictures, they can just upload it. And
it's so nice, yeah.
It's so nice. And it felt like I was standing in the office because I've been in the office and I could see all the furniture in place, what that would look like.
Did you use them then?
We did, but they're still in the process of getting it done. So we haven't seen the final thing, if it will match. Hopefully it will.
We use a lot of drawings and a lot of 3D renders and stuff like that. And sometimes in the 3D render, it looks like one thing. And then when you actually do it, sometimes you got to change things a little bit. Because the furniture setting looks good, but then actually in actuality...
It doesn't.
It's not that it doesn't. Sometimes you have to just,
tweak it.
Yeah.
No, for sure. But where do you see yourself evolving with the interior design?
Well, I'd like to, do a few projects between Christmas and, after Christmas, do the projects like from January through the summer, right? And then again, because we do Christmas all year round, right? But I'd like to do 3 or 4 projects during that time. But I'm also launching in the U.S. next year in 24. So that is a big priority. Yeah. Not our design part of the business, but Christmas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. We're doing a pop-up and then our website.
Okay.
And that'll be very busy.
Yeah, you're going international now.
My daughter is going to be handling that side of the business.
Okay.
Let's see now, because we've just finished the site, so.
Yeah. Okay.
And we've got to have all the product there because it's not feasible for us to ship from here. It's just too expensive.
And as a woman, what has been your experience of being a business owner?
Well, it's been pretty good for me. It's, I've had no issues. The only thing is, being a business owner, I think sometimes people, when you go visit people to talk about Christmas, they think it's really nothing. But if you want to do gorgeous Christmas decorations, trust me, it's a lot of work and it's a lot of thought goes into it. And I find that some men, they think Christmas is just taking a bunch of baubles and throwing them on the trees. It's not that easy if you want it to look the way we do it.
And what's the creative process actually behind you creating? Do you actually design all of the
Some
things?
of the ornaments we design and we change the colors and we change the size. I like big. If you haven't, when you come to the store, you'll understand. I like to mix. I like a combination of small, medium, large, big, because it looks better when you decorate your tree with different size product because it gives the tree depth.
Right.
And so the design process is I sit down and we do it on an Excel spreadsheet. And because I've done this for such a long time, I kind of know how to. It's like a recipe. So our
You
candy,
know what to mix.
yeah, we know what to mix. I know what looks good. I know what, how many flatter pieces I need, what if a long piece or an oval piece.
But when you were starting off, I mean, because all of my audience are people who are at the start of their journey trying to get into businesses.
I believe this was in the 90s. I went to the Ritz-Carlton in Singapore with a big board. I was meeting the food and beverage manager at the time.
Right.
And I had made this beautiful board with Christmas decorations on there. And I took the board to sell him my services. And I got the job. I'd never done a Christmas job before.
But what was on your board?
The Christmas decorations that I was going to use for their hotel.
Okay. So
because
you
at that
brought
time,
them.
nobody used computerized.
Or photos, yeah.
Yeah, it was just, so I brought the actual Christmas decorations. And actually, I think it's almost better to do that because they get to actually see what they're getting. Here in Dubai, a lot of times you have to compete for projects at the hotels and stuff, right? So they make you bid with but they don't make you actually show you what you're going to give them. So then you bid against somebody who's just cheaper, but not necessarily apples to apples.
Yes.
And it happens a lot here.
Okay. So your advice would be to actually show what you're offering.
For sure. Because anybody can draw anything and it can look like anything, right? But you really want to see the quality.
Right. And would you say that your network played a big role in your success?
My network?
Yeah.
I think so. I think, it depends on who you know and what and who you meet. And, and when I first came here and then having that shop in on the beach road was really important because it was a much smaller community at this time, at the time when we all lived here. There wasn't a lot going, happening.
Right.
I mean, I don't mean to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, the reason I ask is what would be your advice on how to build your ecosystem around you as a young business owner?
I think it's important to, again, go back to your vision and see what you want and meet people that are like-minded. Don't be afraid of competition because competition is everywhere, right? And then once you meet these people, maybe, sit down with them and discuss, because I think it's good to get feedback from other people. When, if somebody asks me, for example, I have somebody come to my house tonight. He wants to move here from Mexico and he wants to open up a hair salon, right? And I said, I'd be more than happy to introduce you to my hairdresser, to this person, to that person to help you because I can't really tell him what to do in terms of a hair salon, but I can surely help him in terms of how to start a business in Dubai, right? So I think it's important to really, when you come here, some people don't like to share information though. But I think it's important to find those people that will help you because it's never easy when you're starting from scratch, right? You have to have guts because it's really not that easy. I just think you need to first do the research. And in Dubai, you have to really, it's not, if you're an entrepreneur and you come and start a business here, it's not cheap. Like in America, you can rent a space, a warehouse, a little bit further from the town, and it's pretty reasonable. But if you're in somewhere like here, you rent a warehouse like in Al Quoz, it's not that reasonable. So you have to really do your research and see and find people that are like-minded that can help you, with questions and answers that you might need.
Definitely. And any other advice you can think of for people who are thinking of coming to Dubai or who are here and at the early stages?
I mean, at your early stages, I would just hire, surround yourself with super smart people. I would always like to hire people that are different to me, that can bring me something different, So hire super smart people that can tell you what's wrong and what's right, and that can also be there for you if you need them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, for sure. Anything else you want to share with us?
Well, I mean, basically, that's, I just want everybody to know that come to our Christmas store. It's a great place. You're going to have so much fun this year. And then if anybody has any questions, really, when they come, and they really don't want to speak to somebody in the shop, they can always call me. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Because some people are really, they're really into decorating their Christmas trees. People take pride in it. You know,
Yeah.
they take ownership. It's like very important.
Oh, 100%. And when I was in the UK, I remember people would put up their Christmas tree very early on, and they would really display it by the window as well, so that everyone can see it. And at night it's lit up, and we would walk down in our neighborhood and would always...
Isn't that great, though?
Yeah, you can assess everyone's Christmas tree, and it's always so nice.
That's my favorite thing to do is to, like, when I go back to, like, America for Christmas, I always find the area with the most lights because there's always certain areas that people, and we go and we take a drive and it's so nice and beautiful, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what you're missing here in Dubai. We don't have the snow. I mean, we have the snow at the snow park.
The ski Dubai. Yeah.
But it's not the same as actually when you're in the mountains, smelling the fresh air. And I also recommend to people here also, if you're here in Dubai, you're better off having an artificial Christmas tree because the trees have been on a boat for literally a month. So by the time they get here, they're already ready to like die. So not because I want your business, but because it really is a problem, right?
Yeah. And it's also more sustainable.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I mean, yeah, and all our trees are fire safety. Everything's been regulated, so they're really great.
Yeah. And also, you know what's great about Christmas? The Christmas markets.
Oh my God. In Europe, they're beautiful, right?
Oh, they are. They are. I've been to so many of them. And I think my favorite is probably the Scottish one.
Nice.
In Edinburgh.
I've never been.
Oh, it's amazing. Apparently it's the oldest one in Europe.
I'm sure it's gorgeous.
And it's huge. And it was so nice. It's freezing cold, but just the vibe is just so nice.
Yeah, and you can have the glue vine and all that stuff. But I lived in Switzerland. I was going back and forth to Switzerland because my husband was in Switzerland.
Right.
So I was going back in Switzerland last 3 years but during COVID. Unfortunately, there were no Christmas markets because it was right after the lockdown, right?
Oh no.
And then I was there for 3 years, and so we didn't have any Christmas markets.
Oh no.
Literally.
Oh no. But which ones have you been to that you really
in
liked?
Germany. I mean, it's been a long time since I've been to the Christmas market. I was there in Switzerland where the best Christmas markets, and we didn't get to do anything because of COVID, right?
Of course, yeah. But I've heard even here outside of Hub Tour, they have a Christmas market. Have you been?
Never.
Same.
Because we're so busy at that time of year.
Same. I'm barely here in December.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I usually am here until like the end, like the middle of December, and then I go because I spend it with my kids, right? Mm-hmm. Where do you go?
Home. So home is Mauritius.
I've never been to Mauritius, but I've heard it's beautiful.
Oh, you have to come. Have you ever been to this side of the Indian Ocean, the south?
I've been to the Seychelles.
Yeah, so Seychelles is very close to Mauritius and
So
very
I've been
similar.
to the Seychelles. Been there twice. Very nice. My husband was actually mentioned Mauritius just a couple weeks ago. Yeah, and then I've never been to the Maldives, no, just the Seychelles.
Yeah, well, Seychelles is very similar to Mauritius, but Mauritius is a little bit more. We have bigger towns and cities.
Right, it's not as small. Like the Seychelles was very small. Like when you went there, you were held captive. You were like, that's it. There are your hotels there, and that's all your.
Yeah, it's all walking distance.
I'm like, oh God. Yeah. So do you put up a Christmas tree?
I mean, not anymore, but mostly because I'm not in a specific area. But also back home we don't, because my grandmother passed away on the 25th of December. Oh gosh. So it's always a hard time for my dad. So that's what we do. Yeah.
25th? Oh
25th. But we definitely got presents and everything growing up because I am Muslim, grew up Muslim, but we still always got presents for Christmas.
But you celebrate Ramadan, right?
We do. And you know, now even for Eid, they have all of these celebrations.
Well, we're actually going to start doing some stuff on our website for Eid as well.
I think you should.
For dressing tables and like when you have your family over.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a whole section on that as well.
I think you should, because they even started doing the advent calendar for Ramadan.
Yeah, that's nice. That's so nice.
It's the 30 days as well. So I think there's so much to do there.
But where are you getting the advent calendar? That's interesting.
So I think there are Muslim companies that are starting to do that, where they're putting, for kids especially, different things that they can learn about Ramadan on different days,
it's so
accompanied with sweets and things like that. But it's a nice way of learning, especially for children.
Yeah, my dad was an Arabic and comparative literature teacher, and when we lived in America, he used to teach Arabic to all the on Sundays. We used to go to the Arabic, like the Lebanese Syrian club,
right?
And he would teach Arabic to all the And they would do all the they would do all, my mother was Christian. So obviously the Greek Orthodox Church was there, and then all the Islamic. So it was like a big mix of everyone, right?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How was it growing up with two different religion?
I mean, my parents were so liberal.
Right.
And so educated that for them it didn't matter, And that's how they taught us as well.
You were just exposed to everything.
Exposed to everything. And we celebrated everything. Eid al-Adha, we celebrated Christmas, we celebrated Easter, we celebrated, Ramadan. And then my parents were just so liberal. Didn't really matter to them. And they got married in the 50s in the Middle East, where Muslims didn't marry Christians, right?
Yeah.
And Christians didn't marry Muslims. But they fell in love, and they had the same beliefs and same education. And so that's just what. Yeah. And then they went to America.
Nice. And how did you meet your husband?
Funny enough, my mom was teaching university in Kuwait, at Kuwait University. And my husband had just moved there 2 weeks. And my mom said, "Why don't you come?" And I said, "Okay," because my mom needed a change. So I went with my mom. And then I got a job at the Hilton as the banquet secretary, which was, I don't even know how that happened because I'm a terrible secretary. And he'd been there 2 weeks. I'd been there 2 weeks, and we met.
Oh, wow.
I really liked him in the beginning. I don't know if he really liked me, but it's 40 years later, huh?
Hey, we're not going to question that now.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's how you met. You met in Kuwait.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then we went to Kuwait, then West Africa, then Germany, then Bali, then Jakarta, then Manila, then Singapore, then Dubai.
And Switzerland for a bit.
Yeah, Switzerland was just recently.
Yeah. Wow. And did you say 40 years together?
40.
What's your secret?
Respect, friendship. Being with Mark is like, it's just, when you know somebody, it's like the history you have together is just so important, right? Mm-hmm. And we just get along. And I think, as you get older, sure, people want to do different things, do this, do that, but we respect each other. Like, he loves to watch sports. I don't like to watch sports, but I don't say, "You can't watch sports." I like DJs. He doesn't like DJs, right? I like to, so it's just, I think it's just respect and understanding each other. Mm-hmm. But 40 years is a long time.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
And it's not easy meeting somebody that you're that compatible with. I mean, you see the divorce rate is so high.
It is.
It's 50% in the U.S., I think.
Yeah, apparently first 10 years or something, right? It's like 50%.
Yeah. And also in America, I think it's very difficult because Mark and I traveled so many places together. We were always in new places every 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. And, it was good because and he was in the hotel business, so he worked a lot. And a lot of times, I had to learn how to be independent as well. If you weren't an independent person, it would have been a difficult relationship because the hotel business really requires a lot of, nighttime work. And that's why I started to build my business, because at the same time, when we were traveling in all these places, I always did something, whether it be Christmas. I didn't do Christmas, but I taught aerobics. I painted pots and sold them to people. I did something.
Mm-hmm. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Rima.
You're welcome. It was great. Yeah, sitting here and chatting.
Yeah, it was a great conversation. And a reminder to check out Irony Home. All the links will be in the description box below. And go check out the pop-up store for sure. In Mall of the Emirates, second floor, that concept store.
Yeah.
Yeah, please go check it out. And tag us in your photos. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.